Hi guys, so welcome to our channel. First of all, we tomorrow yesterday we already discussed about till SA 580. Okay, SA 580 is of written representation. Today we will discuss about uh, SA 260, which is on communication with TCWG, and 265, which is based on communication of deficiencies in internal control to TCWG or management. Okay, it is welcome to and I am welcoming you onto this channel. This is a batch for CA Inter Audit regular course for May 25 and September 25 students. And let's start today's class. So today's first topic is SA 260. SA SA 260. Okay. Communication with TCWG. Communication with TCWG. Okay. First of all, what are the objectives of auditors in accordance with SA 260? What are the objectives? So objectives are to communicate clearly, to communicate clearly with TCWG, with TCWG, the responsibilities of the auditor, the responsibilities of the auditor in relation to financial statement audit, financial statement audit, and an overview overview of the planned scope and timing of the audit and timing of the audit. Okay. Second objective can be to obtain from TCWG to obtain from TCWG information relevant to the audit. Information relevant to audit. Okay. Third thing can be to provide TCWG with timely observation timely observation arising from the audit, arising from the audit that are significant, significant and relevant to the responsibility and relevant to their responsibility. Responsibility. And to promote, to promote two-way effect, promote to promote effective two-way communication. Promote effective two-way communication, communication, two-way communication between the auditor and the TCWG. Between the auditor, between the auditor and TCWG. And TCWG. TCWG means those charging government. So what are the objectives? To communicate clearly with TCWG the responsibilities of the auditor and plan scope, the responsibility of the auditor and plan scope and timing of the audit, to obtain from TCWG, to obtain from TCWG, to obtain from TCWG to obtain information relevant to audit, to provide TCWG with timely observation arising from the audit, and to promote effective two-way communication. Okay, between the auditor and TCWG. So, what are the matters to be communicated by auditor? What are the matters to be communicated to be communicated by the auditor? Okay, by the auditor. What are the matters to be communicated by the auditor? There are three things which shall be communicated by the auditor to TCWG. First is, first is responsibilities of the auditor. Okay, this thing, responsibilities of the auditor. Then plan, scope, and timing of the audit, and of timely observation arising from the audit, which are significant and relevant to the response. So significant information, responsibilities of the auditor in relation to financial statement audit, and plan, scope, and timing of the audit. Okay. So what are the matters to be communicated? First is auditor's responsibility. Auditor's responsibilities. Responsibilities in relation to the financial statement audit. In relation to the financial statement audit. Auditor also, and what are the auditor responsibility? The auditor responsible for forming an auditor is responsible for forming forming and expressing an opinion on the financial statement. An opinion on the financial statement. Okay. And the audit of the financial statement. The audit of the financial statement does not relieve management. Does not relieve management or TCWG of their responsibilities. Okay, responsibilities. So, auditor responsibility in relation to financial statement is forming and expressing an opinion on the financial statement, and the audit of the financial statement does not relieve management or TCWG of their responsibilities. Okay. Next thing is planned scope and timing of the audit. Planned scope, planned scope and timing of the audit. Of the audit. Okay. Planned scope and timing of the audit. The auditor auditor shall communicate with TCWG an an overview of the planned scope and timing of the audit. And timing of the audit, which includes which includes communicating communicating about the significant risks significant risks identified by the auditor. Okay, identified by the auditor. The auditor shall communicate with TCWG an overview of the planned scope and timing of the audit, which includes communicating about the significant risk significant risk identified by the auditor. Okay. And the third thing is significant findings significant findings significant findings from the audit from the audit from the audit and the auditors for this thing significant findings from the audit. The auditor the auditor shall communicate shall communicate shall communicate with TCWG. Okay, TCWG means those charges with governance. With TCWG, the auditor shall communicate with TCWG cows. The auditor shall communicate TCWG is cows. The auditor in significant findings from the audit, the auditor shall communicate TCWG cows. What is cows? Circumstances circumstances that affect that affect the form the form and content of the auditor's report. Content of the auditor's report. Auditor's report. Okay. Obviously, if any. Second is um okay. Second is auditor's view about auditor's view about significant qualitative aspects. Significant qualitative aspects of the entity's accounting policy. Of the entity's accounting policies. Accounting policies. Okay. Next will be significant difficulties. Significant difficulties. Significant difficulties. Significant difficulties, if any. Obviously, if any, encountered during the audit. Encountered during the audit. okay. Unless unless all of TCWG are involved are involved are involved in managing the entity in managing the entity unless all TCWG involved in managing the entity significant matters arising during the audit matters arising during the audit and written representation station, the auditor is requesting the auditor is requested. And the last thing will be any other significant matters as in during the audit, any other significant matters arising during the audit. So what are the cows? First of all, C for circumstances that affect form and content of the auditor's report. Second, A is any other significant matters arising during the audit. Then unless all TCWG involved in managing the entity, written representation the auditor is requesting significant matters arising during the audit. Significant difficulties arising during the audit, encountered during the audit, and the auditor's view about significant qualitative aspects of the entity's accounting policy. Okay, so the auditor shall communicate with TCWG circumstances. The auditor shall communicate with TCWG plan, scope, auditor responsibility, plan, scope, and timing of the audit, and significant findings from the audit. And in communicating significant findings from the audit, the auditors have to communicate cows. What is cows? C for circumstances that affect form and content of the auditor's report. A is any other significant matters arising during the audit. W is unless all TCW are involved in managing the entity, written representation the auditor is requesting, and the significant matters arising during the audit. And significant difficulties, if any, encountered during the audit, and significant qualitative auditor's view about significant qualitative aspects of entities accounting policies. Okay. Also, in case of listed entities, in case of listed entities, The auditor shall communicate. The auditor shall communicate with TCWG with TCWG auditor shall communicate with TCWG a statement that the engagement team, it is important that the engagement team and others in the firm as appropriate the as appropriate the firm the firm and when applicable when applicable network firms when applicable network firms network firms have complied with have complied with relevant ethical requirements relevant ethical requirements relevant ethical requirements regarding regarding independence. Okay, a statement that the engagement team and others in the firm and as appropriate the firm and when applicable network firms means uh, if our firm is outsourcing any activity from other firm, okay, so this will be network firm or um, our firm is have services of other firm also. This will be these two firm will be network firm have complied with relevant ethical requirements regarding independence and all relationships all relationships and others matters and other matters between the firm between the firm network firms in the firm network firms and the entity all relationships and other matters between the firm, network firm, and the entity. Okay, all relationships and other matters. This shall include this shall include this shall include total fees charged, total fees charged, total fees charged during the period, during the period covered by the covered by the financial statement for audit and non-audit service and non-audit service provided by the firm and the network firm. Service for audit and non-audit service provided um, total fees charge during the period covered for audit and non-audit service obviously provided by entity and its requirement entity and its firm as or is in other matters between the firm and the network firms and the entity and related safeguard the related safeguard that have been applied that have been applied to to eliminate eliminate identified threats identified threats to independence to independence or reduce to an acceptable level or reduce to an acceptable level. The related safeguards that have been applied to identify threats, applied to eliminate identified threats to independence or reduce to an acceptable level. Okay. Okay. Sorry. I done a mistake of saying that tomorrow I discuss SA5 not tomorrow. अभी सुबह ही किया था ठीक है वैसे मेरे को अभी दिमाग में आया I just remembered that. Okay, there is a note. The auditor shall communicate. The auditor shall communicate in writing, in writing with TCWG, with TCWG, significant finding, significant, significant findings from the audit, from the audit, if the auditors, if in the auditor's professional judgment, in the auditor's professional judgment, professional judgment, professional judgment, oral communication would not be adequate. Oral communication would not be adequate. Adequate. Okay. So auditor shall communicate in writing if the auditors in auditor's oral communication would not be adequate. So we congratulations, we completed essay 260 in this standard. The discussion is about communication with TCWG. The objectives of the auditor as per essay 260 is this: communication, clearly communicate the responsibility of the auditor, transcribe and audit information relevant to obtain from in TCWG information relevant to audit, and to provide TCW with timely observation of significant matters arising from the audit. Okay, so auditor responsibility, significant findings from the audit, cows, and in case of listed company, that a statement that engagement in others within the firm and the network firm complied with the ethical requirements, including regarding independence and all relationships and other matters between the firm, network firm, and the entity. This shall include total fees charged during the period covered by the financial statement for audit and non-audit services provided by firm and network firm to the entity and its component to the firm, component to, and other component to the entity, and related safeguards that have been applied to eliminate identified threats. Okay. So the next topic and the final next topic and the last standard in this chapter is essay 265. Essay 265. Communicating deficiencies deficiencies in internal control to TCWG and management. Okay, to TCWG and management. To TCWG and management. Okay, just wait for 2 minutes. I'm coming. Okay. Sorry. So now we will discuss about communicating deficiencies in internal control. Okay. First of all, when does deficiency exist in internal control? So deficiency deficiency in internal control exists when when a control is designed, implemented, or operated in in such a way that it is unable it is unable to prevent or detect and correct detect and correct misstatement in the financial statement misstatements in the financial statement on a timely basis on a timely basis. Okay, and the second thing will be a control necessary to prevent uh, or detect and correct or detect and correct misstatement in the financial statement misstatements in the financial statement on a timely basis. On a timely basis basis is missing. So there are two cases. There can be a control is designed, implemented, and operated in such a way that it is unable to prevent, detect, or prevent or detect and correct misstatement on a timely basis, and a control necessary to prevent, detect, or mistake is missing. Okay, या तो control है ही नहीं, either control is not there, and if control is there, it is unable to prevent or detect and correct misstatement in the financial statement. Okay, just wait for 2 minutes. Okay, what are the examples? Oh, one more thing. इसको ना एक दो कर देते हैं. So sorry. Okay, now all done. अभी डिस्कस नहीं होगा. And significant difficulties. First of all, this one, this is, uh, significant difficulties in internal control, significant deficiencies, significant deficiencies in internal control a deficiency or combination of deficiencies in internal control that in the auditor's judgment that in the auditor's judgment is of sufficient importance sufficient importance to merit the attention of TCWG. A deficiency or combination of deficiencies in internal that in auditor judgment is of sufficient importance to merit the attention of the TCWG. This is significant deficiency. So what can be the examples examples of matters that the auditor may consider in determining significant deficiencies. What are the matters? Significant deficiencies. What can be the matters? Yes. So what can be the matter? Likelihood of the deficiency, likelihood of the deficiencies of the deficiencies leading to material misstatement in the financial statement in the future. The future susceptibility sus- susceptibility to loss or fraud of the related asset and liabilities of the related assets and liabilities. Subjectivity subjectivity and complexity of determining estimated amount the financial statement amounts exposed to difficulties exposed to difficulties importance of the controls importance of the it is also a important question. There are various number of instances where ICI asked directly this question. Importance of the controls of the financial reporting process. Controls of the financial reporting process. For example, general monitoring control monitoring control controls over the prevention and detection of fraud, controls over the prevention and detection of fraud, controls over significant transaction, controls over significant transactions, and transactions with related parties. Related parties controls over the period end over the period in financial reporting process. Reporting process. Okay. And cases and case and frequency of the exception detected. And the last thing is cases and frequency of the exception detected. Yes. As a result of the deficiency in the internet. As a result of the deficiency in the internal control. Okay. So what can be the matters which help the auditor in determining significant deficiencies? Likelihood of the deficiency leading to material misstatement in the future, suspectibility to loss or fraud of the related asset and liability, of suspectibility of loss of a related of the related asset and liability, subjectivity and complexity in determining estimated amounts, the financial amounts exposed to difficulties, importance of the controls of the financial reporting process, for example, general monitoring control, controls over the prevention and detection of fraud, controls over the significant transaction, control over the period in financial reporting process, and cases and frequency of the exception detected as a result of the deficiency in the internal control. Okay. These are the matters that the auditor may consider in determining whether a control or combination of control or combination whether a deficiency or combination of deficiency in internal control constitute a significant deficiency. Okay, determining significant deficiency. But what can be the indicators? What can be the indicators of significant deficiency? These are the matters which which the auditor needs to consider to decide whether a deficiency or combination of deficiency constitute a significant deficiency. Okay, these are the matters the auditor needs to consider. But what can be the indicator? First of all, अगर आपको अगर आप practically सोचो, if you think practically, what will be who is the indicator or who is the pillar which shall indicate the normal public about any deficiency or any new or any good or bad thing to the normal public, who showcase that deficiency to the normal public? The media. Okay, media has the power and responsibility to showcase the truth and what are happening in the current situation to the normal public. Here also the indicators for significant deficiency are media. How this is possible? Let's study. Indicators indicators of significant deficiency. Indicators of significant deficiencies in internal control is media. Significant indicators of significant deficiency in internal control is media. Is media. There are two M in media. DIA. And what is media? First of all, management's inability to oversee the preparation of financial statement. The preparation of financial statement. Okay. Second name will be misstatement detected by the auditor's procedure. Misstatement detected by auditor's procedure that were not that were not presented, detected, and corrected by entities internal control. Entities internal control. C is evidence of entities ineffective ineffective risk assessment procedure. D is disclosure disclosure of material misstatement material misstatement due to fraud or error due to fraud or error. I is ineffective response to identify this. Ineffective response to identified risk, identified risk, and absence of risk assessment procedure. Absence of risk assessment procedure. So, management. What are the indicators of significant deficiencies? Management inability to oversee financial reporting process, preparation of financial statement. Aim is misstatement detected by auditors procedure that were not detected, prevented, or detected and corrected by entities internal control. Evidence of entities ineffective risk assessment procedure, disclosure of material misstatement due to fraud and error, ineffective response to identify risk, and absence of risk assessment procedure. Okay. No, the auditor shall also also communicate to management at an appropriate level at an appropriate level of responsibility on a timely basis on a timely basis in writing significant deficiencies significant deficiencies in internal control internal control that the auditor has communicated that the auditor has communicated or intends to or intends to communicate to TCWG, communicate to TCWG, unless it would be inappropriate inappropriate to communicate. Please communicate. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. Inappropriate to communicate to TCWG. To communicate to management directly. Directly to management in the circumstances. To management in the circumstances. And other deficiencies. Other deficiencies in internal control identified during the audit. Defined during the audit that have not been communicated to management by other parties. To management by other parties. Okay. So first of all, in writing significant deficiency in internal control, that auditor has intent to communicate to TCW unless it would be necessary to communicate directly to management and other deficiencies in internal control identified during the audit, which that have not been communicated by to management by other parties. And then what shall the auditor include in such written communication? The auditor, the auditor shall include in the written communication of significant deficiencies in internal control, internal control a description of uh, the deficiencies and an explanation explanation of their potential effects of their potential effects and sufficient information to example to enable TCWG and management to understand the context of the communication. The context of the communication. Communication. So in particular, the auditor shall explain that the auditor shall explain that the purpose of the audit was for the purpose of the audit was for the auditor was for the auditor to express an opinion on the financial statement. The included the audit included consideration of internal control relevant to preparation of financial statement, relevant to preparation of financial statement in order to design audit procedure in order to design audit procedure and the matters matters being reported are limited to those deficiencies that the auditor has identified during the audit. Has identified during the audit. Okay. So in particular, the auditor shall explain that the purpose of the audit was for the auditor to express an opinion on the financial statement, and the audit included consideration of internal control relevant to the preparation of the financial statement in order to design audit procedures, and the matters being reported are limited to those deficiencies that the auditor has identified during the audit. Okay, so here we completed the chapter number 7, completion and review. Uh, Tomorrow we will discuss about chapter number 8, which is will be based on auditor's report. And if you like this playlist or if you like this batch, give a thumbs up and share it to all the students or fellow classmates. Bye.